Good evening. Thank you for joining us for the October 12th Waterboro Board of Selectmen meeting. If everyone would rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Running a few minutes late this evening because we had a 5 o'clock workshop with our department heads that went over a bit. Announcements this evening, we don't have any. 6 p.m. we have an appointment with Wade Andrews, the ACO, regarding the barking dog ordinance. Come on up, Wade.
I just wanted to talk to you guys about maybe looking it over and changing it. You know, we've had some problems lately with the way it's set up now as far as dogs being in the house, and I don't know if we would have to have another meeting to discuss this, or if we do it right now.
Right now.
Right now, okay.
Now, did you speak with somebody at the district attorney's office?
I spoke to the assistant district attorney several times, and he said that we as a town can set any ordinance we want. We can make any changes. The hard part is enforcing it.
Okay. Did they tell you that they would not enforce a barking dog in a home?
He said that he would have to check into it. I haven't gotten back to him, or he hasn't gotten back to me, but it's something that he hasn't. He said we ought to be real cautious on how we proceed this, because it could go on to other things, you know.
Just so that everybody's aware what the issue is. There's one particular residence that the dogs are being left in the home during the day, and the dogs are barking incessantly, disturbing the peace of neighbors. I talked to some district attorneys as well, some assistant district attorneys, and looked at ordinances from other municipalities. And what I was told, and the way that I read our ordinance, which doesn't read that much different from ordinances in other municipalities, is that we certainly can issue a citation if the dogs are in the house and barking, because the way that the law definition of harboring is providing a place of shelter or refuge, or providing a place, home, or habitat. And the way that our ordinance reads, you can't harbor a barking dog, and there's nothing specific in our ordinance that says it has to be outside, it has to be inside. And the assistant district attorney that I spoke to said it meets the criteria because of the word harboring.
So right now, a half hour of persistent barking in the daytime hours between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. Constitutes reason to call and file a complaint. It's 15 minutes in the evening hours.
In the evening hours.
So what do we need more than that?
Just when the people have called, I've been down there on 4 separate occasions, and not pulling into the yard because that would get the dogs barking, but sitting out on the road, and I haven't heard anything. And when I have gone to the door and knock on the door, of course the dog's back, but I haven't heard anything the 4 other times that I've been down there. So technically he said that I need proof that they were barking, so that means I would have to be there and witness them barking for the half an hour, or or the 15 minutes. So.
But the folks that are complaining are logging the times that the dogs are barking? Are they?
They haven't said whether they have. They've called me and I've gone down, or, I haven't always called them back when I have gone down, but I'll stop along the road. It's not, I really don't want to pull into their yard every time to listen, or I can't. But I don't know that they've been logging it. They have called me on several occasions, and I've gone down, but...
Now, when you go down, do you go down immediately, or is it a day later, or 2 hours later?
I usually go a couple hours later, or, it might be, a couple hours later, as soon as I can get there.
They're willing to write a witness statement that says they hear the dog barking for 30 minutes?
Yeah.
I mean, just in my profession, this is what I deal
Yep.
with. And I deal with the prosecution of animal complaints.
Yep.
And I have a fair amount of them. And I guess what I'm not seeing here is why there's an issue, because if the neighbor is the one that's filing the complaint, and the neighbor is willing to write a witness statement that says, dog barked from, for 45 minutes, this time, this time, this time, this time, understanding that when the case goes to court, they have to be subpoenaed to appear as a witness, and if they don't appear, then you don't have a case. But if you have a witness statement, I don't understand why this is an issue.
Well, I haven't gotten a statement from them yet, but if we proceed that way, where that means every neighbor can just send in, say, the dog barked on such and such a date from so-and-so, and, there's really no way to monitor it.
Like anything that would go to court, you need substantial evidence. So a person, just one person complaining that the dog barks at a certain time, and there's no backup information, and the owner says, my dog doesn't bark, it's dead.
Yeah.
So like anything, if a person says, this dog is bothering me, do you have any other neighbors that are hearing it? I will come down as the animal control officer and listen. And if I can document that too, then you've got a backup. But if you're doing this and you're alone in your complaint, and no one else is to back you up, you're not going anywhere with it.
I would disagree with that, because I've had cases where it's a neighbor that, I had one a couple weeks ago where the dog is loose in the neighbor's yard, and the neighbor, nobody else sees it except, Joe Smith next door. Joe Smith writes a witness statement, it goes to court, and the guy got fined the $50 because there was a witness statement, and when it came time to testimony, which one's more credible, and it was found that, it believed. And it's a civil violation, so it's not like, law and order, and it's not that you have to have, it's just beyond a reasonable doubt. It's not beyond a reasonable doubt, it's just a preponderance of the evidence, which is only 51%.
Yeah, but on the other hand, if you have the owner that this person comes up with, and he's credible, and the owner doesn't provide a good counter to it. But if the owner says, hey, my dog doesn't bark, I've never heard, no one else has complained about it, this person's got a problem with me, and then it's not going to go anywhere. So I think if I were going there as an officer, I'd want to tell my person that's making the complaint, you probably should substantiate this, and otherwise it may be a waste of your time.
Well, they may be called upon to testify, and certainly even though it's a civil violation, perjury is still in play here. If they give testimony before the court that's false.
What do we want to do here? I mean, we've got an
I
ordinance.
got a question I didn't quite understand. Something about an open, a closed window? You couldn't do anything if the window was open or if it was closed? I mean,
No, that's just what I wanted to find out from you as far as the town ordinance. I mean, if a dog is in a house and all the windows are closed, I just wanted to find out from you folks how the town wanted me to handle this. I mean, if the dog's outside, then that's one thing, but where it's inside of someone's home, and this particular, they share a common driveway, so every time that someone drives in and out, this is what the gentleman that owns the dog said, that every time that the people drive in and out of the driveway, his dogs do bark. But he said he's tried to keep the windows, he's kept the windows shut most of the summer, and
Well, is that a part of our ordinance?
no.
So
No, it
what's the
just-
issue? What's the issue?
I just wanted to know how you wanted me to proceed with this, because as far as, there's no, if I go and start and issue a summons to this party, then it kind of opens it up that every neighbor that has an issue or has another problem with that, then I would have to do the same thing for them also. But I mean, it says in the ordinance that they have, you give them a verbal warning, which I do. Second warning is a written warning. The third warning, which varies, I mean, I haven't, maybe twice in the time that I've been the animal control officer, had to go back on a second or third time. The third time, it's a $100 fine.
So here, again, it says, no person shall own, keep, or harbor any dog which by loud, frequent, and habitual barking, howling, yipping, shall disturb the peace of any person or persons for more than 30 minutes between the hours of 6 a.m. and 10 p.m., 15 minutes between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. So, loud, and persistent. And I guess, loud, you get the windows open and you can hear it echoing around the neighborhood. Windows are closed, you hear it 50 feet away, but if you have your windows closed, you don't hear it. So, all that stuff is subjective, but I would think when if you're going to fine a person, the person wants to fight that fine, and then you need to come in with something that demonstrates to the court that it is loud and it's persistent.
And that becomes for the court to decide and
For
not
the
us,
court to
so.
decide, yeah.
I find it extremely difficult to believe that a car leaving the yard, the dog is going to bark for 30 minutes continuously, unless that car is going awfully slow. And this ordinance is not inconsistent with a number of ordinances that are in effect throughout the state, and I know because when this was originally written, I wrote it. And I didn't have anything to do with the revision, but the original one was one that I submitted to the town. And like I say, I used a compilation of a number of similar animal control ordinances that are around. And the time factor in there was, at that particular time, was what the court wanted to see, was the consistent, that time factor. So that if the dog is barking, when somebody comes in and out of the yard, they're not going to bark for 30 minutes. And I mean, we'd have the same issue if there was loud music, loud television, a colicky baby crying in the summertime with the windows open could be annoying to some people. I mean, you're going to have to use a certain amount of judgment. And there is another safety thing in here for the person, in that they might not go to court right away. After they get the second warning, they have a right to appear before the Board of Selectmen, to discuss that. And if it's found that they're not in violation, then it reverts back, to a first-time warning if something should happen again in the future. So I think there's enough safeguards in it now that we really don't need to change it.
Okay.
Is that clear as mud for you, Wade?
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
are you all set?
Yeah, so as far, still go the way it is, and if it gets to the second warning, whether the windows are open or not, well, I mean, if, just issue it and let the court decide who's in the right, who's in the wrong.
Yep, and you just need to make sure that you get, witness statements from the neighbor, and he's gonna have to put in there that the dog barked for the 30 minutes, and then if it gets to court, he's gonna have to appear as a witness, and, he's gonna wanna make sure that he's being honest about what's happened.
If we do, if I do get a complaint, I do go down there and I'll speak to him, and then if it happens again, I do, I'll go down there and I'll sit on a stakeout and see if I can hear anything. And this particular, I've been down there 4 separate occasions and I haven't heard a thing, for 45 minutes to an hour at a time.
Yeah, it might even be, I don't know exactly where this is, if there are other neighbors that are in close
There's none.
proximity.
There's
So
none.
it's not like you could rely on another
No.
neighbor to say there has arisen an issue.
In some parts of town, like Arrowhead, if there's a dog barking, I'll get calls from multiple, multiple neighbors. But this particular case they're pretty much the only ones within a, short distance from each other. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Abe. Hearing a delegation. Representative Wagner's here with us again this evening. Joe, did you have anything you wanted to say this evening? Okay. Nothing under correspondence this week. Reports, town administrator's report.
Well, I can tell you, it's pretty busy, trying to keep up with the election and everything else here. I try to spend, I'm going to try to spend at least a half a day down there now, because elections is going to be picking up. I'm going to look at, probably next week, having a ballot clerk come in and just handle the absentee ballots, because they're really starting to come in. We received notice last week that the applications for the Homeland Security Grant is available, and I think the deadline is November, second week in November. So Matt, myself, Pam LaRue, and Tom are trying to get together to go over, see if we want to put in for the grant. The hardest thing is trying to get a date when everybody can get together. Right now, the last that I heard was Monday, that we will be discussing that. And I have one other thing is, I had a call from the person that was going to be appointed to, I'm not sure, to 2 committees last week, and wasn't appointed, and they would like to request an interview or an executive session to know why they are not being appointed.
Okay. How do we want to handle that? Want to do an executive session next week for that?
Yeah, I think that's,
At
Is
Yeah,
that
say
admissible
executive session.
executive session?
personnel issue.
He's not a personnel of the town.
He said he didn't care if it was, they would do it also in public session.
We'll find out. We'll schedule it for 6 o'clock and see which way, find out which way it needs to be, which way is appropriate. Anything else?
Well, you can see we have the highway opening application.
Yes, we have to pay $50. Here's the envelope, Fred handed this to me, and they need this, and as soon as they get that, we're all set.
All right.
Okay. All right, Selectmen's report? David?
I met with the Finance Committee of RSU 57 last week on recycling. And it was a very positive meeting. They're looking seriously into spearheading a program at Waterboro Elementary. And I need to get together with Eco Maine and see if we can't get an assembly started. And the school is looking at waste cans, trash cans, and stuff like that. And so we will have more to report in the future. Maybe next week I see they're reporting, so maybe they'll have something to say then, I'm not sure. But it was a very good meeting.
John, anything this week? Anything to report this week? Okay. Dennis?
Also,
I met with the Parks and Rec Committee Monday night. It was a very brief meeting. There was only a few of us there, probably in part due to the fact that it was a holiday, and I think some people didn't realize that we were going to meet, because In the past, I guess, Mike has postponed it a week when there's been a holiday, but it slipped his mind this time, so Mike and Bob Gobiel and I just chatted for a while. It was, I can say it was very short, and basically we just kind of had a generalized conversation about Parks and Recs with, nothing specific. Mike was telling me about, the basketball program that's going to be coming up, and he was very excited about that. And we talked a little bit about his Funergy program, which I guess is hugely popular. And that was basically it. I had to leave to go to the airport, after that, so.
Okay. Committee reports, road commissioner.
Can I give you the report on the same at the same time?
It's under old business, but if
What's
you want,
that?
it's under old business, but if you want to give us the values, and then we can decide what we want to do with it under old business.
Approximately 22 minutes to make a trip from Limerick to a load of sand. That's at $3 a yard. From Doug's Pit, I would say probably 15 minutes. That's at 4 1/4.
So 22 minutes from Limerick?
Yep. From Dayton, which is $3 a yard, 15 minutes. So that's your choice.
So it's 15 minutes coming, 15 minutes going.
Yeah. Well, you make it quick or empty, Dave, and
So to Frank Carroll's, then it's 44 minutes round
yeah,
trip.
roughly,
Okay,
So
versus,
What do they do, charge us by the hour for the
Oh.
hauling?
Trucking.
For sure. Yep. So I checked with Dayton, and they have it for $3 a yard, so, I didn't check with Cliffy because, if I remember right, he didn't want to get mixed up in it a few years ago. We bought from him one year, yeah. But I can check with him tomorrow, but
But it would sound, based on what you just said, if Dayton Sand is $3 a yard, which is the same as Limerick, it's a
Yeah.
shorter haul
Dayton,
from them.
yep.
How much are you looking at?
almost 2 to 1.
Well, I said 3,700 yards. I don't know if we need that much to start with, but, there's quite a lot down there, but you never know what winter's gonna bring, that's the problem. You try to get it, not get mixed up with mixing during the winter, but another thing that can bother you is the fact of how much rain you get. You lose a lot of salt. We don't have a building, so, well, that's another thing I can put on there, can I? Whoop! Boy, I just got into that one,
You
didn't
missed
I?
it. You missed it. It's already on there.
Is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
carry over from last year.
I know, I wrote this.
So, we're thinking
All
the
right,
same way,
so
Frankie.
this is a bid on paving at the library. The lady called me and asked me if I'm gonna turn this over to you, Ringo, because I would say the looks of it was getting more money there.
Okay.
They want the bid on pavement for
An estimate?
an estimate.
Okay.
All these up there?
Okay?
Yeah. Fred?
Yes.
We got one of the other things that we talked about briefly at Parks and Rec last night, which slipped my mind, was the issue of the boat launch.
Yes.
Apparently, you've repaired that one hole that's right at the edge of the tar and where the
Yep.
cement abuts, but I guess it's divoting a little
Yep.
bit. But the major problem apparently is further out, is
Yeah,
my
where-
understanding. that,
Where they power load.
From people that
Unbelievable.
use power boats and they gun it there to
Mhm.
get onto the trailer, they've left a huge hole. And the director of Parks and Rec said that you were gonna try to fill that.
Yeah, but what we'll have to do, wait till they get that drawn down good, and then Tommy can sit there, he can back in there enough for the backhoe to pull that material back in, get it back in there.
So we're not gonna add anything to it, we don't need any
No.
DEP permits
No.
or
No.
permission or anything like that? Okay.
But I'll fill the hole like we did before, I'll patch that back in again.
Yeah.
I mean, that held good, that biggest hole is where they've been spinning.
Yeah.
They spun right in that one area, spun it out, but we can fix that. I don't think they'll bother us if we let this, the lake gets down good, it's going down good. If we set in there with a machine, reach out as far as we can reach with that extender hoe and fix that area that's,
Okay.
it's terrible. I backed in there with that barge trailer and I went just like that. So, you know, you've got to fix it.
As long as we're not introducing any other material that's not already there.
No, the only
that
thing you
requires
could
to have
ever,
permits
the
and stuff.
only thing you could ever do there would be to add on to those concrete slabs that are there, but, you're gonna be out there a long ways if you do.
That's a whole, another permitting process,
That's
I would
right.
imagine, yeah.
See, we took him out one year and, straightened that all out and built it up some, you know, just pull some material in, but that's been quite a few years since we did it. All we can do is pull it in, see what happens.
Do you think posting it down there, no,
Huh?
no power loading would have any effect? Or
Well,
people
it
are
probably
still just
wouldn't be a
gonna
bad idea to put a sign down there.
Down there at one time. There was a big sign that said power loading prohibited, but
Well, let's get another one. Make sure it's there in the spring when they start loading and unloading.
All right. Thank you, Fred. Next up is a road review committee, Jim Gendron.
I don't really have a lot because we haven't really had a meeting until tomorrow, but.
Well, you've had your meeting, you haven't been here since your last meeting.
Right.
so
Oh, no,
we've been there.
I'm fine. I'm just, the most I really have is the last meeting we had, we met with Doug and at our meeting and we talked about the project on Oak and where the drainage is. And at that time was getting the materials, and since that time, we've got the materials. The materials are there, the catch basins are all located on site. From what I gather, all the drainage pipes are all stored at the transfer station, so there's no problem there. The brush on Oak, or whichever road that is on the back, that's all been cleared down. It hasn't been emptied out yet, but basically we're waiting for the permission to cut across the road, from what I understand. That's as far as I know right now. And Mast Hill Road, well, you've already talked about that a little bit. And the other thing was I did notice that Fred, I believe, did put the stop sign on that, on the end of Osby Hill Road there where the corner is, because I visually saw that too. And we're going to start working real hard on the CIP tomorrow and go from there, get it to you in time.
Your new traffic counter's in.
Our new traffic count is in, but nobody's actually used it yet. I don't even think we've taken it out of the box yet, so we haven't had time. Well, we've had time, but, you know, everybody's not around all the time, so. But that's about all I got.
Any questions?
I know it sounds simple enough, but is there any training component to that traffic counter? Or is it just,
I think it's just a
as
matter
simple
of-
as running the hose across the?
Well, that I'm not sure.
Roger.
Roger would know more, because I know he's talked with the people on it, but I haven't talked with Roger since, actually, he wasn't at the last meeting, so I haven't talked with him, so. Maybe tomorrow we'll try to open the box and see what's in the box.
Run over it a couple times, see if it works.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, as far as training, it's probably just a matter of reading the brochure or the operator's manual. I just haven't seen it yet. I know it's there, we just haven't opened it up. We haven't had a need to yet. When you tell us to go count something, we'll open it.
Anything else? All right, thanks, Jim. Okay. Moving on to new business review letter from Assessor RE Abatement Appeal Hearing. And we all had that letter in front of us tonight. Here. And this is going to be regarding an appeal that was before the board, and they would like to request, the attorney for the parties wanted to request an appeal. However, has gone beyond the review period. So Jerry has drafted this letter to go to the attorney, letting him know that it's beyond the appeal period. And he'd just like a approval from the board that this letter is acceptable to send on.
I will move that we authorize this letter to be sent.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? All right, all set, Gary.
Thank you.
Next, under new business is define committee assignments. One of the things that we've talked about in our goals this year is making sure that each committee has a selectmen's liaison that's going to work with the committees, try to get to the committee meetings and whatnot. I think we kind of bantered about who was going to do what committee, kind of as one of our goal meetings was breaking up, but just want to formalize who's going to be attending to what committees. The 2020 committee, I think, Dennis, were you gonna? Okay. The assessing board of review, I don't think we need to have an involvement in that. As a matter of fact, Nancy, I don't know that we can. Okay, so that one's,
Yeah, they don't have many meetings unless there's an appeal, so.
yep,
And us being a liaison probably wouldn't be appropriate.
right.
No, since we've made the decision.
Yep. So we'll scratch that one. Cemetery committee, they meet a couple months out of the year, I think 6 or 8 months. So I don't know if there was anybody.
I'd be happy to.
Okay, John? The Conservation Committee, unfortunately, we don't have that committee in place right now. I'll be working on the PSA for that, and maybe we can get some involvement on that committee. We have the Economic Development Committee that I'd like to stay part of. Finance Committee, that's going to be John.
Yep.
The Library Trustees, I know they're not a huge group at this point, but
Yeah,
John, did you want to?
yeah.
I think we can just give all of these to John. He seems to be pretty agreeable this evening. The Old Home Days Committee. I volunteered for that one. Then we have Parks and Rec, Gordon.
That's-
Planning Board,
I think I said I'd do that one.
okay. And Gordon volunteered for the Public Safety Committee, if we could get that one up and running again. Road Review Committee, David, you were going to take that one? Transfer Station Committee is David and I don't know who stayed, John or Dennis?
Yeah, I think we just need to sort that out because we need to determine. Right
Yeah.
now, we got 3 selectmen that are kind of on the.
I haven't gone for a while thinking it was you,
Yeah, I
but,
mean, David and I have.
yeah. No, I know David
On a
was.
regular basis, so I would say that the 2 of us would continue on it.
Okay, so David and Dennis?
Dennis.
And then the ZBA is, I think, another one of those that we don't.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so that'll firm that up. So we've got Dennis with the Comprehensive Plan Committee, the Planning Board, and the Transfer Station. John has the Cemetery Committee, the Finance Committee, and the Library Trustees. I'll take the Conservation Committee, the Economic Development Committee, and the Old Home Days Committee. And Gordon has Parks and Rec and Public Safety Committee. All right. Next under new business is discuss vote on junkyard permit renewal for Richard and Robin Lavigne. And we had the application in our packets this week. This is a renewal. They've had a permit from us since 2004.
I looked at the package here. I know that Patty made a visit there last year.
She did one last week, she
Yeah.
didn't get it.
Okay.
Is she still here?
she's fine with that, then we just move on with approval.
Where is that located? Where's 1190 Main? Is that this end or the other end?
There she is. Hi, Patty. Hi. Step right up.
Oh, thank you.
Want everybody to see your smile. The junkyard permit for the Lavignes, did you do an inspection?
I did go out there, and they are in compliance with their approvals.
Okay. David wanted to know exactly where it was located.
Is it 1099 Main Street? Do you know where, I think it's Grace Family Church? In Spirit Bear Drive on the left as you're going south. It's right
Up
up
on
in
the
there.
hill? Okay,
Yep,
all right,
yep,
yeah.
way, way up in
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Has the address changed? Because you have 1190 here rather than
I said,
1090.
I transpose the numbers.
Oh, okay, all right, no, just wanted to make sure.
No, it hasn't changed.
Okay.
I'd move to approve it.
Okay, is there a second to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
Thank you, Patty.
Thanks, Tom. Just as a point of information, there's another one that I would presume is going to expire.
Yeah, we usually get two of them at the same time.
Is-
We usually have three.
Right.
There's
They-
one that's not renewing at all. They've cleaned it up. And the third one, I haven't heard from.
Has the one that's been cleaned up been inspected by the town? Do you know?
I don't.
Okay. Under old business, discuss vote purchase of winter sand. Fred already zipped out.
I'd move that based on the numbers that we purchase the sand from Dayton Sand and Gravel.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Very good. Number 2, under old business, discuss recommended finance committee procedures. And John sent us all an updated process.
Just as a review of that, the Finance Committee was pretty clear, when I met with them, they were pretty clear as to what their charge is in the budget process. There's a timeline there, and how they interact with the Board of Selectmen is pretty clear. What they were less clear about is the monthly procedure when they're not doing budgeting, is to what the selectmen's charge for them is. I looked at the town charter, and what mentioned the phrase or sentence in the charter that alludes to the Finance Committee working on a regular basis beyond just doing the budgeting is timely review of revenues and expenditures will be made to the Board of Selectmen throughout the fiscal year. So what I did is I attempted to define what that timely review would entail, so that the Finance Committee could get specific charge and respond to that charge, and then get, and if they wish to have a response from the Board of Selectmen, how that would be done. I went through that last week, and you sent me back and said what you'd like to for me to define further is a list of documents reviewed. What would be the list of documents reviewed? And I talked with Nancy on this. I have not, the Finance Committee was supposed to meet last night, but they didn't have a quorum, so they did not meet. And Nancy gave me 3 documents, the revenue summary, the general ledger summary, and the expense summary. And I put in there and any other relevant fiscal information that may be sent their way. So that was defining what they would review. So in doing this, if the board so decides to make this the charge for the Finance Committee will be asked to come up with a written report, and that report could simply be as simple as we reviewed the following documents and found nothing of concern. Bingo, a phrase or a couple sentences. And the following documents were da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Or it could be more complex in saying we viewed the following documents. We have questions in the following areas on each one of the documents, and would like further information. And there in this, it is asked that they make before they come to the Board of Selectmen with that report, that they go to the town administrator and ask her, and if she's able to give them an answer that works for them, then they don't have to go to the selectmen and put it in their report. And if it still doesn't answer it to their satisfaction, then they have a procedure to file a report, monthly report to the selectmen, and then there's a procedure in here for how the selectmen respond to that report.
Okay. So what's the pleasure of the board?
Would you repeat, John, relative information, other related items, how did you word that? They will report.
Yeah, okay. They would, it states here that they will review the following documents: the revenue summary, the expense summary, and the general ledger. And in their review, if the committee as a whole, as a majority, has some questions that they want to ask about certain items in those reports, they can, as a committee, direct the chair or a member of the committee to go to Nancy and ask for information, further information. And it states here that they would go to only to the town administrator. They wouldn't be going to someone else. So there's a process there. And then if they did not go to, and then if they still had concerns, they could put it in a report, a written report, to the Board of Selectmen, which would come in monthly after their meetings, and say, here, we reviewed these reports, and in this review, we have the following concerns or questions, and then they can, that report would come to the Board of Selectmen. We would review that, and you could do one of two things: refer it back to Nancy for Nancy to meet with a member of the Finance Committee, refer it to me as the representative from the board with the Finance Committee, or meet with the representative of the Finance Committee or the whole committee.
So relevant reflects back on the 3 or 4 areas they responsible for looking at, or is relevant other areas?
Well, I mentioned there in the report as to what was relevant and what was not. And we mentioned, I think the last time there was some discussion as to there's some gray area there. And the note says the Finance Committee sole directive is to be concerned with revenues and expenditures, management of funds, and personnel issues or daily department functioning is not within the committee's charge. Individual members of that can, if they have concerns as individual members, they have the same rights as any citizen would with the concerns. But the committee itself is directed to just deal with financial matters. Now, then how far do you go with that? And that's can't be really well defined, and that's something that if the committee has some concerns that they feel is tied to financial matters, and we think it's management matters, then we'll meet with them and redirect them.
Are the other members comfortable with that relevant wording?
Dennis?
I'm all set with it.
So am
I mean, I think, it's, we've kind of gone through this before. They really have no standing relative to pre-approval or anything of
I
that nature.
know, but to me,
I
it
think-
just opens confusion and debate. Why
Well-
even have it in there?
I guess at this point is that you're going to get the confusion and the debate anyway. We ought to do it at least in a structured manner. So,
This gives them some specific things which you don't have now. They don't know how to respond to us particularly, and what we want from them. This gives them some specific stuff. And then as far as if someone can come up with more specific definitions here, great. I just don't know how to do it. I don't know how they can.
I mean, right now, they're getting the expense summary, the revenue summary, and the general ledger summary, just like we are and
well, when you say they,
the finance committee.
I think the chair is.
What's this?
No, I think it goes to all of them.
Does it go to all of them?
Yeah. I can't check because I
But
go to my email.
I would just suggest you check that.
Well, even if it's going to the chair, she should be presenting those at full committee meeting, their monthly meeting. What would be those other relevant, what would be the other relevant financial, I guess,
I don't know.
or do you just leave it what they're getting right now?
Well, you could leave it there, but I guess I left that door open because if there was some specific information that felt that the Finance Committee would be relevant for them to see, such as there may be we've sent out guidelines for a job being done or something like that, and it might say, okay, they're interested in seeing the scope of the job, and if we felt that was, or if Nancy felt that was relevant, could send that to them too. But if it just says these three things, then you can't send them anything else.
Right.
I think we run the risk here a little bit of overcomplicating everything, but I think if there's some, good flow of documents, good flow back and forth, and at least put some structure to it, that's the only reason that I would support it is but we can get really bogged down here too, and if it gets bogged down, then we'll have to take another look at it, but I don't think it's nothing that we're carving in stone. It's a policy that we go forward with and say, hey, this is what we're going to do for the foreseeable future, and if it works, it works.
Isn't the most of the information regarding the finances public information anyway?
Yeah, but not as quickly as,
No, but I mean,
and you'd have to ask for it.
yeah. So,
Right.
I mean, if it's public anyway, I really have no issue with the relevant.
In this here, I think what it does is it gives those three documents, and they know they're going to get those three documents and need to report on those if they have any concerns. And then any documents beyond that they may wish to get, they can talk to Nancy, and Nancy can say, I think that's too much, or fine, we can do that. But if they wanted to have a whole, pile of 25, 30 pages of stuff, Nancy can say, no. You can come in and see that as an individual person, but I'm not sending it out to all the committee. So therefore, anyway, so it just gives you those three documents right there that they get on a monthly basis, and if there was something else that Nancy felt was relevant, or they asked for and she felt was relevant, send it out.
Nancy, what were you going to say?
I was going to say probably there would be two others that they probably would be very interested in, and that would be the payroll and the AP warrant.
I would,
So that could come under the
Relevant documents.
Yep, documents.
payroll and EP warrant.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sometimes I ask for them, so.
So they're not routinely going to be given out, but if they ask for those, they'll be supplied?
Okay,
Is
so
it-
that
that's the
wouldn't be a
relevant
routine
data?
piece, they would ask for that, okay.
But it could become routine if they wanted that.
Okay, and that could be easily added in there, I think. This is not a, it's a procedure, and it's trying to give the board and the committee a monthly interaction, gives them a little bit more direction than they have now, and gives us an idea of what they may, the scope of the committee on a monthly basis.
Okay. So what's left to do with this, John? You
I
wanna
think
talk to
if this was, if people agreed to this here, what it would do is would type it up and send it, and I'd bring it, send it out to the finance committee.
Okay.
And they just, and I would answer questions that they have on this, and if they have some concerns or something about this and want to add, subtract something, they can come in and ask it and talk to us. But they told him, when I was talking with them, they said they wanted something from the Board of Selectmen. They wanted some directive from the Board of Selectmen.
So is everybody agreeable to John sending this along to the finance committee and getting some comment from them and then finalizing it? Yeah, Dennis?
Good.
Okay, so all set with that then?
Yep.
All right. Next on the agenda is discuss town administrator's recommendation for agenda items. This was tabled from last week because we wanted to have Nancy with us. And I think what the board was looking for is more participation from Nancy in regards to the agenda and making recommendations ahead of time on the different agenda items. We did adopt a policy last year where there are agenda reports, and kind of brushed that off, and every agenda item is supposed to have an agenda report. I know when Nancy and I talked about it a little bit, I think there was some confusion over was it just new agenda items or whatnot.
It does, the thing says each new item that comes before the board.
So anything that comes under new business should have an agenda report with your recommendation, and then that just follows it as it moves into old business.
So, if there's thing on it like today to discuss and vote on the junkyard permit.
See, and you would have you might not have any, it's not applicable.
So what would be, for instance, what would be applicable on tonight's?
Oh, definitely the
Winter sand?
Well, that's under old business.
Well, it was, last week was under new.
Finance committee procedures?
But I didn't get them until this weekend.
What's this?
I didn't get them until this weekend.
Yep, but I mean, okay, you could say I didn't get them in time, but if you had gotten them, in the last meeting they were available, and so you could say, okay, I think you ought to consider this, or I think you ought to put this phrase in here.
I don't have a problem, but you're really going to have to stick to the noontime Friday, because if the agenda doesn't get finalized till 4 o'clock, there's no way it's going to be part of the package.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, it's just what I value is, I'm just speaking for myself here. The information that we get here is great and is needed. But I also value your take on things. And so what it does is we may ask you that, but it would be nice to have just a kind of a written statement. My recommendation is ta-da-ta-da-ta-da.
You want to give us the form that's in the efficiency plan? Oh, I didn't have it. I have it on there.
That form has some background on the item on the agenda, the request, and some of these might not be applicable. Alternatives, what the fiscal impact would be, if there's a legal review that's needed, a conclusion, any supporting documents, and then the town administrator's recommendation.
My suggestion is that if the chair is working with Nancy to set the agenda by noontime, that she also recommend which one of those items that she'd like to see feedback from, and then we'll take it from there. It's going to be a changing, living thing, right? So let's
Because
see.
there may be some weeks of the committee appointments and all of that.
Right.
There
So
might
I
not be
think you
anything
gotta-
that's applicable.
But I think Nancy's right. I mean, And I know that certainly when I was sitting in that chair and calling Pam, we were, tried to do it by noontime, but it was always, crept to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and you hope to get it done before the end of the day, so the earlier the better, and at least gives Nancy a chance to address those things.
I think a lot of times on Tuesday nights, though, we come out with a preliminary agenda. What are we going to have on the agenda for next week? So I think some of that you already kind of know is going to be coming up. Last week Fred said beforehand, we need to talk about the salt sand. So we knew
Well,
about that.
in that
kind of
case,
ahead of time even.
there's a particular case that shouldn't even been here unless we had an understanding of
Yeah,
where the
exactly what
best
it was.
price was, right?
Yep.
I mean, we dicked around for 2 weeks and we could have had it done in 10 minutes, but, so it's
The
just a matter of,
third one was thrown in tonight because I
Yeah,
didn't know about
right.
the
so.
And there's a two-way street here. One is we get the information a little bit in advance, maybe what Nancy's take is on something. And the other thing is, too, is it gives her a little bit more control over how we're going to act on something. So if you come in and just don't,
You just opened up the book, John.
I'm not saying you're having a meeting beforehand, Nancy, but if you come in with strong recommendations for something, then you say, okay, I want you to act
So,
this way.
let's
If you
not-
come in with no information on that, and you just give us information, you don't know what the heck we're going to do.
Well, let's not put a shine on a sneaker tonight. Let's let this kind of work.
So Nancy and I will work on getting those.
And if it's anything that really needs to look into more information, I'll try to get it to you before Tuesday.
And you know what, sometimes if we have something that's going to need a lot of information, then it doesn't get put on the agenda. I mean, there's no reason why we can't put it out until we have all of the information. Why do we want to see something on the agenda repeatedly? Just to send it back to get more information and more
I agree.
information. It would make it more, the whole purpose of doing these reports was to make our work more efficient.
See, the thing is on this, and it says it pretty much, discussion and action. If it's discussion, then Nancy will participate in the discussion. But if there's an action to be taken, then we might want to know what Nancy's view is on the action. This is my recommendation on your action.
All right, Nancy and I will work on that together. Under other warrants for bills and payroll, take a motion for that.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor? The minutes from 10:05,
So moved.
second,
Second.
all those in favor? Pending decisions, medical marijuana ordinance. Pam, did we get anything? You were going to send something to the planning board, just kind of asking them for an
I
update?
included it in your packet.
I got-
That's
That's what
what they gave
they
That's
gave
what
you?
they
So
gave.
nothing, I mean, that's what Tom gave them. They didn't give you any responses to?
They haven't met since he gave them that.
Okay. So we'll follow up on that again. Transfer station project, we were going to have that on the agenda tonight, but Owen can come in next week.
Next week, 6 o'clock.
Okay, so we'll have an appointment for 6 o'clock next week, Pam?
We got the last figures today,
Okay.
okay?
Can I just ask a quick one? Is the problem down there that we had this weekend all taken care of?
Yes.
Good. Our hydraulics.
The oil shower,
Yeah.
Happens, right? It happens.
does,
There's no DEP repercussions out of that one?
they will probably be here tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they'll look, see if there's a little stain on the ground.
They just want to look at what we had for waste.
I can't imagine the mess it must have made down in that little room.
Well, I guess it adds credence to having a well-oiled operation down there.
Under pending decisions, I mean, at some point, and maybe this we bring back next week of where are we with our pursuit of a new town clerk?
Accepting applications until 29.
Okay, so I would guess that's a pending decision, right, that we need to...
And you'll need to make the decision too if prior openings in the position, the hiring panel's been involved.
So why don't we have an agenda item for the hiring process of town clerk next week?
Where are we as far as administrative assistant?
All the job descriptions are at the attorney's, and she's going to review them and then forward them.
Now, has anything ever been done, we discussed some time ago about assistance for the secretary, or, assistance for the treasurer? I mean, is that being addressed?
Yep.
It is.
Is that the same Ron Smith that's running for council and law?
I don't know.
Just happen to see the signs all around.
Yeah, I saw that the other day, and I was wondering. Also, next week, Tom is going to come in on your goals.
Yep, I've got that. So the week's action list. Jerry's going to take care of the abatement appeal letter, junkyard permit, which is Sand, pretty much all. John's going to pass along to the finance committee, and you and I are going to work on the agenda items, Nancy. For the agenda for next week, we have the vote on the final goals. I'd like to see where we are with the electric sign for out front and where we are in getting the performance audit.
I can tell you the sign, we get about a little less than half of the money raised.
Speaking about signs, where do we stand with the...
They have the signs, they just need to get put up, and the EDC is working on times when they can get a couple people together to do that. Dig Safe came out, and you can see on the pavement where it's been marked. The DOT would not allow for granite posts because they don't break away if a car goes off the road. So it's going to have to be with wooden signpost.
So when all is said and done,
It'll be less.
from now on, let's not design a sign by committee. So,
Well, it was, a big part of it was waiting for town funding.
I don't understand the state saying granite posts don't break off. They
Yep.
break off all the time.
Yep, they
but
will
they
not
have-
allow.
any state sign has to have a certain hole side. They drill through the thing, so if it breaks at a certain height, and if the car hits it and all that good stuff.
They also vetoed the idea of having a decorative planter in front of it because it would vault the vehicle. So they said that that was inappropriate as well. So
And the
if
second
it's on, if it's on municipal or state property in a state right-of-way, but if it was on private land that somebody donated and it was further enough back, but I guess there's an element of liability attached to it that, so.
And the second one, I'm waiting to hear back. We've been playing kind of phone tag with MMA. And the other one is the gates. I'm waiting to hear back from the company on the gates.
This is the dam?
Will they do it?
I got my fingers crossed.
Yeah.
All right. So by
They
next,
say they do maintenance, so.
good. So next week you should have the performance audit information and maybe some gate information.
Just the agenda as well. Is there any further developments from Miss Austin?
Yeah, I mean, that was
I saw
something
the
I want to bring
email.
up too. You got a copy of the letter that I got from her.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the next step is, I think what she wanted to do was to set up a time when she might be able to talk with a couple of people on what our needs might be. And I think that included Nancy and anybody else on the Board of Selectmen that might be interested. So I think she set the week of, I think the last week in October.
Yeah,
when
she's
she
on
did that.
vacation or something for the next couple of weeks.
So, if that's something that we can give her a time and do a telephone conference or something like that.
Anything else?
So I guess I can work through you, Nancy, on that one. And then what we can do is set something up and then get the word out to anybody that wants to join in.
Okay. Anything else?
What's the status of the collection agency? Is that in the process or what? On personal taxes?
Yeah, I think that was,
Jerry, we signed it, we signed the agreement, and then Jerry was going to work with her on
Okay.
getting her all of the information she needed to start all of the process.
Okay.
Maybe we can just touch base with Jerry, like,
Yeah,
sometimes in November or
Yeah, I would say
something, and see
give 'em
where
a
he
month
is.
or whatever, and
Okay.
All right. Anything else?
So you said 2 improvements for 6 o'clock.
What do we have? We have,
Phone call with Nancy got and the transfer station project.
oh, wait a minute, I thought we were bringing in the guy that wants to be part of the planning board at 6 o'clock.
He's at 5:45.
well, is everybody available at 5:30 next week?
It's on this day? I mean, on Tuesday?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
David?
It'll be tight, but I probably can make it.
Gordon? Dennis? So we'll
I'm
do,
ahead of my calendar right now.
we'll do, the call Nancy got at 5:30. The other one at 5:45, and then Owen at 6. Okay, items needing signature, warrants for bills and payroll, minutes of 10/5/2010. Read the reminders, Wednesday, October 13th at 6 PM, that's tomorrow night is the road review committee at the town hall. Also tomorrow night, 7 PM, planning board is meeting here at the annex. Thursday, October 14th at 6:30 is the old home days committee. Thursday, October 14th, 7 PM is the Taylor House board at the Taylor House. Monday, October 18th at 6 PM, the Water District trustees meeting at Town Hall. It lists the 12-town group being here, but they're actually in Sanford for candidates night. Where in Sanford, Joe? At the Town Hall. Tuesday, October 19th, we'll start at 5:30, and our selectmen's meeting at 6. We have reporting RSU 57, and then the planning board's meeting again on the 20th. So we have an executive session on tonight per 1 MRSA 4056A, personnel matter, and then we can adjourn. I make,
Well, we enter an executive session at 20 minutes after the hour, so 5 minutes. Necessary duties.
okay, is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor?